Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Just a quick announcement before we get into this video. Make sure to stay until the end. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different in this video, and I think it's something that I'm going to do in future videos as well. And it has to do a lot with all of you and your comments. So make sure that you watch this video until the end. Or if you don't want to watch this video and you get tired of it halfway through, fast forward towards the end, because this is something new and I think it's kind of fun and interactive with all of you, and hopefully you guys like it. Here we go. Hey guys, what's going on? Down here with Mike from AQUAPROS. So I'm in Oregon here on some business. We went to the wet spot and kind of hung out there today. Came back to his house and hanging out down here in his fish room. So some cool stuff down here. We're not going to show you everything, but we'll get a glimpse of a couple of his tanks. And Mike will tell us a little bit about what he does and what he's doing with these tanks. So let's check it out.
Let's do it. We get a close-up of this. Check these guys out. Just added them. So we have chili rasboras here in my big tank. This is, I guess, the main attraction of the whole fish room down here. This is a 6-foot by 2x2 water box aquarium, and it's kind of my baby. I put a lot of work into this. Obviously, it's a very big planted tank. If you've never seen my channel, that's what I do. Build planted tanks, share my limited knowledge of fish, and you know, just kind of hang out and have a good time with it. So here in this tank, just in case, Zenzo, you wanted to know a little bit more about this tank, right?
Yep.
Yep. I think you did. Yeah, so in here we have obviously all the trees, and people ask me a lot, like, what's going on with the trees? What kind of moss do you have on the trees? And actually, it's not moss. It's a plant called Monte Carlo. It's kind of like an easier alternative to dwarf baby tears. A lot of people know what dwarf baby tears is, but this stuff is a lot easier to grow. It doesn't require the same kind of treatment that a really hard plant like that would. And it's a little bit bigger too. So that's what I've done here, is just kind of draped it over these bonsai trees. And let's see if we can actually lift this up. I don't want to disturb the plant too much, but it's literally just growing down over these bonsai trees. You probably can't see that too well. Actually, we have something up here that we could show you. So this is what those trees are. This is a bigger version, of course, but this is a handmade dead bonsai tree, and that's what we have just all over that tank. So that's kind of like the main plant that we have in here. We do have some mosses. We have some dwarf hairgrass here at the bottom, some of the S. repens plant as well, and there's just a lot of dragonstone. So that's kind of like the whole thing. And we have these cool little vines that I spent a long time twisting together and gluing so that they were in the right place. This scape took a while to make. It's a high-tech tank. So we're doing CO2 and we're adding fertilizers. That's the main way that the Monte Carlo on the trees gets its nutrients. It's not down in a substrate where it can get anything. So we have to put a little bit of extra work to make this system work, but it's really fun for me. I like you know, chilling over in the living room. Me and Zenzo were sitting over on the couch, you know, just being able to look across the room and see this tank, even from really far away. It still looks awesome. The fish are small, but I think they have just the right amount of impact that I want here. Oh, dude, get this Amana shrimp right there, dude. Look at that guy. Oh, yeah. And then if we come over here, we just have a rack of, you know, a lot of products and stuff on it that we use. And then we also have the kind of the plant grow out area. So it's messier than normal over here. Actually, it's not. It's kind of, I had to clean up because Zenzo was coming over, but we got everything that's just kind of hanging out, waiting to eventually find a home plant-wise. So we have, you know, a bowl full of moss that's ready to go. We have some tissue cultures over here. We're setting up a tank. We'll take a look at it in just a second. Those will eventually go somewhere. And then we have these greenhouses over here, and I think that you guys might think this is kind of cool. So these greenhouses allow me to keep a decent amount of plants longer term than normal. So like for instance over here, this is some Anubias congensis, I believe. It's just sitting in here, a little bit of water in there, and then the dome helps trap in the humidity. And it's not going to work for everything. You don't want to put like stem plants or anything in here because they're just going to fall over and get kind of weird. But like over here, this lobelia has been in here for you know, 2 months now, just hanging out, growing immersed. Some of the Monte Carlo we have in here is looking a little beat up, but there's some new stuff I have that, you know, it's gonna just kind of get darker green over time here, but that's a good way to keep your plants longer term if you're not quite ready to put them in a tank. So yeah, then we come over here, we got the good old dehumidifier, which is a must down here. You gotta get all that excess moisture out. We got a table that's just full of stuff. And then this is the main wall. This is 3 40 breeder aquariums that are all side by side. Your wide angle lens is probably getting a good shot of those. And you know, as I mentioned before, we're working on redoing one of them right here. So this is just a bunch of rocks that were originally balanced on top of each other. And then I'm coming in here and gluing them together with super glue and a little bit of the, what is it? The polyurethane foam, I believe it is. And so that was a trying process, we'll say. A lot of knocking over structures that I spent, you know, a good whole 15 minutes trying to balance out. So still working on it. Wanted to have it done for Zenzo to check out, but unfortunately we didn't quite get there. And then over here in the middle, we have the forest tank. This is Forest Tank 2.0, I believe. I tried to make another forest tank that was just as cool as the one that I have upstairs. Zenzo probably has some B-roll of that he can put over right now just for reference, but this was my take on a larger version of that, and it's a lot of manzanita driftwood, these big stumps in the front, and then smaller pieces as you taper to the back. That kind of helps with the illusion of depth, and you know, I think it turned out okay. We're obviously dealing with some algae issues in here, and I'm actually doing a little bit of an experiment where we see if we can kind of reverse this staghorn algae. So it's only been a couple days. We need to give it a little bit more time. But yeah, this is one of my favorite tanks to enjoy from afar because of that algae. And then of course we have the curry tetras in here. These are one of my favorite fish. I love these guys. Purple is kind of a hard color to find in the freshwater world, and we get that out of some of these curry tetras. So, and then over here you might have to get a little lower for this one, Zenzo, but this is the Avatar tank, the second Avatar tank that I've ever done, I guess we'll say. And it's a little overgrown right now. There's obviously a lot of moss in here. That's pretty much what the scape is, other than the fact that we have these floating rocks that you can barely see anymore. Maybe I'll give you a picture to put over this to show what it looked like originally. There's of course a video on my channel that shows how we created this, but yeah, it's just kind of a mystical looking scape, something different, and you know, I like doing this kind of thing. We have these blue rasboras in here, really cool fish, and then we also have the diptail pencil fish. These guys up here that just kind of chill up at the top, and there is some blue shrimp in here as well. We got to have, you know, blue avatar warriors in the tank, if you will, for those people that get into the you know, the theme tanks. It's something that I've kind of tried to do more often than not. I think it's fun. And then over here we have kind of a newer addition. This is the wine glass tank, which, I mean, it's a giant wine glass. It's not very stable, so we have to be very careful in this room. I don't have a cat or a child that could bump into this thing and knock it over, so I think we're good for now. We have some of Kang Lee's awesome guppies in here, so we have some of his tuxedo guppies. They're actually producing some babies right now. I don't know if you got those on camera yet, Zenzo, but there's some babies hanging out up there at the top. These are pretty cool. I'll be honest, I haven't ever been a guppy guy, but these fish are kind of changing that in me. They're fun, you know, they're always moving around the tank, and they're pretty to look at. I mean, I think they're really good looking fish. So I've kind of changed my mind about what I think about these live bearing fish. We also have some monos in here hanging out down at the bottom. They take care of any string algae that we might get in this tank, but there's nothing on this other than a light. So this is a no filter, no anything aquarium. So we're just relying on all the biology in here to be good biology and to take care of itself. And so far it's worked out for me, and we hope that continues.
How long have you had this tank running?
For about, I want to say like 2 months probably. It's only had fish in it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but they've already, you know, they've been spitting out babies, and you know, no super high nitrate or anything bad like ammonia or anything. So it's worked. Yeah, we might as well talk about these. So I haven't showed these tanks off on my channel yet. I showed the creation of them, but I haven't showed them in a while because these are my 2 experiment tanks. And so what I do in these, and what I will be doing more of on my channel, is doing a side-by-side comparison, investigating something relevant to the planted aquarium hobby. So that's kind of a general statement, right? So what I did with this experiment, I don't want to say because we are seeing some differences here, but we tweaked one thing in one tank and we tweaked one thing in the other. Obviously you see fish in here, there's no fish in here. There was also another parameter that was different between these 2 tanks, but what we do see, that you can see now, is that we have a lot of green spot algae covering the front of this one, and we don't have any on here. We're starting to see it now, but that's most likely because the experiment has been done for more than a few days, and I just haven't gotten around to resetting them. But that was kind of an interesting thing to see, you know, a difference that we can actually see. There was also a difference with the plant growth in these 2 tanks. You can't really see that right now, but when my video on it comes out, you'll be able to understand that a little bit better. But what I did in here was just tried to mirror everything perfectly. So pretty much the same amount of plants to begin with, same number of stems. There obviously has to be a little bit of estimation in that. It can't be truly identical, but it's just the only way that we can really investigate things is by doing them. And so this was my attempt at that. So we'll see what comes of that, and we'll see what we can look at in the future.
So one thing I didn't talk about in the beginning is that Mike is actually a microbiologist, which is why he does a lot of those experiments, and some of the stuff on his channel is very informational. So if you do want to have a deep understanding on how things work biologically in the aquarium, you can check him out. So thanks for the tour. That was awesome. Any last things you want to share?
We are actually in Area 51, and this is my alien. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough of all the tanks down here, and you maybe got to see some of the ones that are upstairs. Come check out more on my channel if you want to see more. Thanks, Enzo. Appreciate it, man.
So I've been thinking about some ways to interact with all of you and to be able to maybe add a little bit of humor and fun to this channel. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start reading some of your comments from past videos in the most recent video, and just kind of call you guys out and share some of the comments that I've read and maybe even answer your questions. So this might be a way for you to ask me a question where, you know, it would be something that I wouldn't normally get a chance to answer if it's like buried in the comments, or it will also allow the comedians of the bunch, those of you that out there that have a lot of humor, that are witty, etc., to be able to comment something tasteful but funny that I can read out loud and share with everyone. So I went through a couple past videos and just found a couple that I thought were kind of funny, and then one that was a real serious question that I thought I would answer as well. So on a recent video, CC Courts asked, "Hey, completely different subject, but what do you do to get your traps so big? I get no results on them, really." So the truth is that my traps are genetically large. Even when I was in high school, when I was a freshman, and I was on the wrestling team and I weighed 119 pounds, I had giant traps. So to be honest with you, like a lot of the workouts that I do make sure that, you know, they're incorporating the traps. So like deadlifts as an example, and a lot of my back pulls and things like that I'm doing will make for bigger traps. But I was just born with larger traps, and it's just a genetic thing. So it's kind of like one of those things where no matter what you do, you kind of are given what you got. And like calves, like some people have great calves and some don't. I happen to not. So anyway, that was a funny question from CC Courts. The next one that I thought was funny, this is from MPI or MPI. Now those are some guns, unlike King of DIY's little chicken wings. Shots fired to Joey. Actually, Joey is back on a workout regiment because I talked to him a couple weeks ago. We chatted, and I know that he's back in the gym and he's serious about it again. So you know, he doesn't have chicken wings. He's got some, you know, good sized arms, and we'll see if the king of DIY gets some gains again. And the last comment's actually more of a question. This is not so much humorous, but I thought it was a good question and I thought I would answer it. And this is from Jerry Martin, who asked, can you do something on 3D backgrounds and how they work with filtration as far as room? So I do have some 3D backgrounds downstairs in my living room, as you guys know, or I'm sure you know, and those 3D backgrounds are hiding some filtration. So on one of them, the Malawi tank, I have the outlet for the sump filter behind the background. Then I also have the hang on the back those pipes behind it as well. And then on the DIY background, which is my Tanganyika tank, I have everything behind there. I've got the heater behind there, some air stones, the canister filter outlet, etc., and the inlet. So yeah, so basically what you want to do is you just want to make sure that if you do have a 3D background and you are using the background to hide what's behind it, you need to make sure that whatever's behind there is getting adequate flow. So in one of my backgrounds, I drilled holes in it to make sure that the water's flowing so that it can, you know, draw out the water and make sure that there's circulation going. So that would be something that you can do. You can cut holes in the background and put like a screen or a mesh there. I've done that before. And then in my other one, in the Tanganyika tank, there are large holes that I made in that background that are like caves, and that allows the water to pass through. So basically you just need to make sure that the equipment back there has plenty of space, that, you know, nothing's touching the heater as an example, that your filtration is not blocked or impeded by anything, that there's plenty of space around it, and that you have the ability for the water to go from the main part of the tank through the background to whatever is back there and then back around. So there you go. So those are the 3 comments I shared today, So make sure that you comment down below in this video some funny things, humor, questions, whatever, and I'm gonna go through and maybe pick like the top 3 or 4 questions and read them out loud. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
We'll do it.
What's everyone?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody?
There you go.
Hey, no, you start out. You start out.